Una din gamele de produse distribuite în România de Agroconcept este brandul norvegian Kverneland. Ca orice producător serios care se respectă, cu câteva luni înainte de cel mai mare show al lumii agricole, Agritechnica, de la Hanovra, a invitat presa de specialitate la ei acasă să arate ce au mai bun. Cu o istorie de peste 140 de ani, de prelucrare a oțelului, din care produc organele active ale plugurilor, compania norvegiană oferă astăzi fermierilor toate soluțiile posibile de prelucrare a solului, de semănat și de tratare a culturilor. Începută ca o afacere de familie, s-a dezvoltat și a ajuns astăzi partea unui concern mondial care produce mai multe branduri ce pot oferi unui fermier tot ce are nevoie. Poate cea mai importantă experiență pe care am trăit-o din punct de vedere profesional în Norvegia este faptul că după o ploaie consistentă de 24 de ore, cu o temperatură constantă de 16 grade, am putut vedea o demonstrație în câmp cu utilaje care au pornit de la cel mai simplu până la cel mai complex și inteligent produs de prelucrare a solului.
Good afternoon. We are very pleased to have so many international people coming here to Kverneland during our Agritechnica preview. And of course I would also like to say very much hello to all the Romanian farmers and our good partners and customers in Romania. My name is Ariel Gerde. I'm the Executive Vice President for Sales and Marketing in the group, and very pleased to have you here in the north of Europe with us.
Yesterday and today, 2 days in Norway, we saw discussions about the future of farming, and today the new innovations that Kverneland brings from this autumn on to the farmers. Please, tell me briefly what we gonna catch from the talks of yesterday first.
Well, what I think is an important takeaway is that we are in a very attractive industry. It is important for the human beings to have a sound and solid food value chain. And I think for Kverneland we see ourselves then contributing to help the farmers with efficient and intelligent systems and solutions for the future. And as you maybe remember from yesterday, this is also a lot about smart farming technologies. It's about the things of digitalization and connectivity of machines and systems into farm management systems, all aimed at having profitable farming operations, but also in a sustainable way for the farmer and the environment. And we are very much concentrating our energy in contributing in this area.
Today we saw a lot of machineries on the field. Which are, from your point of view, the most important innovation for the farmer?
Well, for me, there were many interesting things shown today. Upgraded plow range with many interesting features. We saw nice things on the spreader side, which is again with connection to the ISOmatch Farm Center and the transfer of data, as we talked a little bit about. It's the new sprayer range where we now have also from the T3, the T4 to the T6. And this is also again about making the machines even more efficient and intelligent. And you know, also on the sprayer side, we have this thing about smart farming, I'm farming elements with variable rate and important things for the future.
This year, Kverneland will celebrate 140 years of activity. Please tell me something about this, and what is the most important feature in the factory that farmers should trust when they saw the product?
Well, what is very unique here in the factory in Norway, the plow factory, is as you saw today, it's a very deep production. There is a lot of forging and heat treatment going on. And this metallurgy competence is something that is really sitting as a part of the culture in this factory. And it is value, and those are values built into the product in terms of making the product strong, reliable and with a high durability, all important for the farmer. And also we are able with our plows to keep them relatively light because of the strength of the material. So material technology here is an important thing, but of course it is also about the features on the plows. I mean, now we speak about the iPlow, which is the intelligent plow, which is part of I'm Farming, and again the connection to terminal and steered from the cab and GPS and so on. So there is a lot of new technology that have been brought in on the plows as well.
All these features, all these technologies, how do you bring them closer to the farmer? I think we're going to talk about some dealers.
What is very important for us, in order to serve the farmer in a good way, we are dependent on having good local partners in order to, understand the market and what products are right for the local market, but also in terms of making sure that we have enough competence in selling the right product and to support it in a good way in the local market. And that requires that we also do a lot of training together with our distribution partners, and we need to think a bit long term in order to, in a way, harvest from all these investments that we will do together in terms of taking the product and all these new technologies in a good way all the way to the farmer. Well, we talked a little bit about our plows and the plow range and how they have evolved. And as you have understood, everything started here 140 years ago by a local entrepreneur that really was innovative, and he took risks in order to establish something which is, like, for this area, a fantastic industrial journey for the Kverneland Group. And we believe also, as I said in my presentation, that it was a family company. Now we have ended up in a big, solid group like Kubota. We feel we have the resources and a sound base to be strong also for the coming decades and years. And we will work hard to stay innovative and bring good things to the market. We have had a very good connection with Agro Concept, our distribution partner in Romania, already from the start of this company, and we really see that we work together with them in a strategic alliance for the benefit of the Romanian market, we believe and we hope.
Pentru partea a doua a discuțiilor în sală, organizatorii ne-au pregătit o temă extrem de incitantă. Există viitor pentru fermieri? Răspunsul la această întrebare l-au oferit cei doi fermieri invitați, unul din Statele Unite, iar celălalt din Marea Britanie. Fiecare a oferit o imagine a felului în care fermierii se luptă să prezinte consumatorului de produs agricol care este rolul și complexitatea muncii de fermier. Dar partea cea mai elaborată și plină de realități ale întregii lume europene a expus-o fermierul Andrew Ward din Marea Britanie, care a reușit ca în pragul plecării acestei țări din spațiul european să facă un remene al agriculturii cu bolile ei valabile pentru orice țară încă membră UE.
I'm Andrew Ward. I'm an arable farmer from Eastern England. We are farming 650 hectares on varying soil types. And the crops we're growing are wheat, barley, which is spring barley, malting barley to make whiskey and beer, sugar beet, oilseed rape, peas and beans. So a varied selection of crops. And I'm here at this Kverneland event because I was asked to speak yesterday and to give my view on the future of farming and the future from a UK farmer's perspective. The job of farming and producing food has changed a huge amount over the years. Due to technology, due to efficiencies, the yields that we are getting and the amount of food we're producing now is far greater than ever before. But at the same time, the problems we have within that are we have to look after the environment more. We have more issues and more pressures from organisations who think that by using chemicals and by farming the way we do and by producing food the way we do, they think that is damaging the environment. But the problem is, often these people don't realise the things we have to do to produce food and the expertise we put into it, because being a farmer today and being a food producer today is not as easy and straightforward as many people think.
Tell me something. I saw yesterday a chart regarding the quantity of water for the last 6 or 7 years in your farm.
So the rainfall we get now in England has varied hugely to what we used to get. And that is a huge problem for us because we have to deal with it. We have to set our land up, we have to set our soil up and make it resilient to be able to withstand the weather that we now get. Because we get far longer periods of wet, we get far longer periods of dry and heat intensity and drought. And for us, managing water and the rainfall is a problem because our soils are very heavy clay soils. Most of our soils at home are in the region of 45 to 60% clay, which is a very, very high percentage of clay. And the rainfall we get now varies enormously. Our 23-year average of rainfall on my farm in eastern England is 620 millimetres. However, within that, the variability is huge. In 2011, we had the driest year we've ever had, where we had 430 millimetres in the year. In 2012, we had the wettest year we ever had, only 12 months after the driest year. And in 2012, we had 1,080 millimetres. So massive variability. But we have to deal with that and keep farming and producing food, which is not easy.
All the subject regarding the environment, not only the birds, the bees, and the health of soil.
The health of the soil and the environment and wildlife, again, is very, very important to me as a farmer, but it's also important to everybody who lives in the countryside and also people in the town. And it is at the moment another area where the farmers are getting blamed because they say that there is insect decline. People who don't know and who don't live in the countryside say that there are massive declines in insects and wildlife, and they say it's farming is to blame. We are to blame for the loss of bird life and insects and bees as well. And the problem is we are having chemistry taken away from us all the time. Active ingredients that we need to protect our crops are being removed from us because the government is listening more to the people who don't know what they're saying and not to science, instead of the government listening to farmers. So we are having to suffer, and we're having to produce food and try and farm with our hands tied behind our back. Because the government are listening to the wrong people. But already at home in England, I have had, for 11 years now, we have had 6 metre and 8 metre margins, and these areas are sown with wildflowers and special grasses to provide habitat and nesting for birds and insects and wildlife to live in. And we've also got areas around the farm where we are planting special crops purely to feed wildlife in the winter, not to feed humans, but to feed wildlife. And those areas we are getting paid, and we are being paid £600 per hectare for those areas.
How many hectares from your farm are occupied all over with these bands?
We have in the region of 35 hectares out of our total farm size of 650 hectares. So that is a sizable area, 5% I think, purely to help give the public a better perception of British agriculture and food production. But of course, the area that I always try and focus on, and I say to people when they say to me that we are poisoning people, because that's what I'm accused of. I'm accused of poisoning people by applying chemicals and fertilizers. I say to these people, when they are poorly, if they are not feeling very well, what do? They go to a doctor, and the doctor will give them medicine, or the doctor will give them tablets to make them feel better. And that is exactly what we're doing to our crops. We are giving our crops something to make them feel better and make them to be able to produce food that will keep these people alive. That's all we're doing. We don't apply fertilizers and we don't apply chemicals unless there is a need, a necessity for those.
Let's be more precise now, because all the Romanian farmers have the same problem with glyphosate and the neonicotinoid.
Yes.
What is your point of view, and what it is the, let's say, big public perception?
We'll start off first of all with the seed treatment, neonicotinoids. We have had that taken away from us 3 years ago, and in our view, as a farming industry, as farmers, the research that was used for that and the research that the government listened to was flawed. It was not proper science, and they were listening more to activists, as we call these people, who are all they want to do is live in a chemical-free world, and that is not possible. They want to eat organic food. They don't believe in animals. And so these people are vegans, and they won't eat meat, and they won't eat anything like that. So the neonicotinoid seed treatment for us has caused huge problems, because we have now got cabbage stem flea beetle that now attack our oilseed rape at the very early stage when it comes through the ground. And this last year was been the worst harvest of oilseed rape we have ever had. We've been growing the crop since 1984, and this last year our average yield is 3.4 tonnes per hectare. My average yield before this year was 4.6 tonnes per hectare. Now, on that yield of 3.4, we are losing money. That crop has not been profitable. But the seed treatment would normally protect it at the very early stage. But now, because we're not using that seed treatment, we have had larvae, like little maggots, have hatched off in the winter, gone into the stem of the plant, and taken the nutrients away from the stem, so that the stem is infected and it is not able to pick up the moisture and not able to pick up the nutrients from the soil. So for us, that is a very, very serious problem. And it's got to the point now where I am reducing my oilseed rape area massively. We up to now, we will have 220 hectares of oilseed rape every year. This coming year, I'm reduced it down to 30. And that is purely because I cannot keep growing crops that aren't profitable. And the research that was used, that the government used, was meant to have been proper science. But they had an agenda. The government had an agenda, and they had pressure put on them from other organisations to remove this seed treatment. Now, I know lots of beekeepers and bee farmers in England, and they tell me that they saw no problem with the bees when we were using this neonicotinoid seed treatment. There was no problem, and now we have stopped using it. For 3 years, they have not seen any increase in bee numbers. So for us, that is where the problem is flawed.
You know, Romanian farmers said like this: if glyphosate disappears from the market, they will stop making agriculture. Is it okay or not?
Yes, that is quite an interesting question and topic. With glyphosate, we have in England a saying, glyphosate is vital. And yes, for me as a farmer, trying to get rid of our grassweed problem that I explained yesterday, blackgrass, we are doing very well in that area, but I could not have got to the success level I have without glyphosate. Because for us, one application of glyphosate will control weeds, and it will help us manage the soil. And it reduces carbon, because every time you move the soil, you release carbon to the atmosphere. So for us, being able to use glyphosate means the atmosphere and the environment is better and not worse. And the other thing we do in the UK, some farmers would have to cultivate the soil many times to control weeds.
Trebuie să vă spun că fermierul nostru englez, pentru a putea scăpa de coada vulpii, și-a angajat o echipă de muncitori care să elimine manual această buruiană foarte dăunătoare din cultura de cereale. O singură plantă are peste 1000 de semințe. Întrebat ce nație sunt cei care sunt angajați să privească buruienile din cultura de grâu, a răspuns: sunt români și sunt foarte mulțumit de munca lor.
So we're obviously going to get to the B word, which is Brexit, and my view on that is we are in a very, very tricky situation at the moment. The future profitability of my farm and many other farms in the country is very, very finely balanced. There is a report just been published 2 or 3 days ago in England that says if we come out of the EU at the end of October with no deal, which is very likely at the moment, there is £850 million of profit could be wiped off UK agriculture. Now, if that is right, which I think we are going to be in a very tricky situation, if there isn't a deal, it could be catastrophic for UK farmers. Tariffs, export tariffs, will be put on our goods that we need to export to other countries. And also importing food as well is massively important, because in the UK we are only 61% self-sufficient. So, which means we have to import 40% of our food. Now, the problem we have with this is that we know and we realise that our food standards are some of, if not the highest in the world. Our welfare standards, our animal welfare standards are also right at the very top. And the problem we're going to have now with imports is that food is going to be coming into the UK that will have been grown and treated with products and chemicals that me as a UK farmer is banned from using. That to me is absolutely categorically wrong. It is a hypocrisy at the highest level. And if that carries on like that, it will decimate the UK food industry. And this is where I say the UK government needs to fully understand what they are doing if they decide to come out of the EU with no deal. Because Boris Johnson, who's in charge of the government now and is leading our country, he, as far as we're aware, is not fully appreciative of the implications and the problems that we will have. So we want the government to be more supportive of us as a farmer and to come onto our farms more and talk to us more, because then they will realise what problems we might have. But the Brexit and no deal and the whole implications of us not being in the EU could be extremely serious. We have a saying in the UK where people are looking at food and don't appreciate the problems we have with food production. We have a saying at home that a person with a full stomach has many problems, but a person with an empty stomach only has one problem.